Good evening. Welcome to the November Planning Board meeting for the City of Bayonne. At this time, we'll call the meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Commissioner Lubach?
Here.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Here.
Commissioner Locke? Commissioner Scheibel?
Here.
Commissioner Booker is absent. Sorry about that. Commissioner Veloz?
Here.
Mayor Davis is absent. Commissioner Volato?
Here.
Chairperson Fiamonte?
Here.
I believe that Commissioner Majorano is also absent. We have.
Okay, thank you. All rise for the pledge. Next on the agenda, we have the statement with regard to the Open Public Meetings Act, Sunshine Law. This regular meeting of the City of Bayonne Planning Board has complied with the Open Public Meetings Act, Sunshine Law. Annual notices of the scheduled regular meetings were published in both the Jersey Journal and Star Ledger newspaper. The schedule of regular meetings for the calendar year 2025 is filed with the City Clerk's office. A copy of the agenda of tonight's meeting is posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building and on the City of Bayonne website. Next on the agenda, I do not believe we have any adoption of minutes. And thank you. And we will move to communications.
Yes, under communications, we have a council resolution authorizing and directing the planning board to conduct a preliminary investigation to determine whether properties located at 973-993 Avenue C and 80 West 47th Street in City Block 76, lots 17.01 and 17.02 constitute a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. This is also known as P-25-034, and I do not believe that this requires any further action on the part of the board.
Thank you.
Next communication is Municipal Council Resolution authorizing and directing the Planning Board to prepare a redevelopment plan for certain property located at 485 Avenue C, 487-493 Avenue C, and 64-66 West 22nd Street in City Block 209, lots 22, 2301, and 27 on the official tax map of the City of Bayonne. And this is also known as P-25-030. And no further action on the part of the board with regard to that matter.
Thank you. Next on the agenda.
Next on the agenda is public hearing number P25-029, presentation of an amendment to the peninsula at Bayonne Harbor, Bayonne Bay East redevelopment plan for property located at City Block 830, lots 2.01, 2.02, 3.01, 3.02, 4.01, and 4.02. And I think this presentation is by Mr. Slough.
Good evening, Mr. Slough.
Good evening. And so it is, here I am. What we have this evening is an amendment to the Bayonne Bay East redevelopment plan. We're on amendment number 3. Previous amendments were in 2018 and 2020 from the originally adopted plan in July of 2017. So I'm hoping that you have before you a document that looks something like this. Mm-hmm. And so this is kind of an amended plan in the sense that it just shows what is being changed within the original document. And this is to help effectuate the discussions between the expected redeveloper of the site and the municipality in terms of how it's anticipated that the site will be redeveloped. And so this Bayonne Bay East redevelopment plan has some changes in how it'll be reviewed. And one of those main changes, just to maybe start the context of it, is that on the screen to my left and to the board's right is the block area that's designated. So to orient you, to the north part is Port Lincoln Boulevard, and that wraps around to the right side. To the left side is Baker Company Street, and to the bottom has a couple different names, but Center Street on the plan itself. And this had several other designations in past redevelopment plans. It was like block 7 and 18 and so forth. The original redevelopment plan had different designations. So in the original Bayonne Bay East redevelopment plan, it was 4 blocks, BE1, it's a gnat flying around, excuse me, BE1 through BE4. But recently, this board acted upon some minor subdivision related to this tract. And so those minor subdivisions were created 6 lots, and they were lots 2.01, 2.02, 3.01, 3.02, 4.01, and 4.02. And those lots correspond here with BE2 being 2.01, BE1 being 2.02, BE3, 3.01, BE6 being 3.02, BE4, 4.01, and BE5 being 5.01. So it made more sense in terms of the plan, instead of having 4 redevelopment blocks, to match them up with the existing tax map lots. It's easier to follow, easier to track from an administrative standpoint. So that kind of sets the groundwork, and that's probably the likely development phasing of the project as well, is going through the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 that you see on the map. And that map is on the back end of the plan, and then there's also a legend that shows that how that matches up with the tax lots. So all along in the Bayonne redevelopment plans there's been a set of blocks that refer to redevelopment blocks in the plan. It doesn't necessarily relate to tax lots or deed lots. So we've been trying to keep kind of a running total as time goes on because it's very complicated. A lot of changes that have occurred over the last 20-some years with the various different redevelopment plans on the peninsula. So almost need like a flow chart to show how things have changed over time. So some of the other things that have occurred here is that City Council has looked at this and felt that there was an allowed intensification of use in what was originally proposed in the Bayonne-based East redevelopment plan. And so that would include going from 25 stories to an allowed 30 stories, and would also allow an increase in the total number of residential dwelling units from 1,250 to 1,750 housing units. There would also, to accommodate this increase in dwelling units, an allowed increase in the aggregate square footage of retail, sales, and services on ground floors in the buildings. And so originally 10,000 square feet, it would be allowed to go up to 40,000 square feet, but it would not require there to be 40,000 square feet. In the plan, there is a requirement about there to be non-residential square footage in the ground floor. That could be this retail square footage, but it could also be amenity space. It could be like a business center for the residents. It could be a mail and package center. So there's that component that's in it as well, but it doesn't necessarily mean retail sales and service. It just means non-residential uses of the building, not just residences on the building. And that's just to provide typical services in what becomes much more amenity-laden buildings than you might have gotten used to, say, when you got out of college and were looking for your first apartment. And that is a function of the market. Markets in highly desirable areas market themselves on the basis of the amenities that they can provide. So that can be from the amount of the parking that might be available. It might be because they've got a pool and grilling stations and shuffleboard and, book nooks and things of that nature. Might be the services they provide. They might have a concierge that helps you get, tickets to the game, tickets to the theater, tickets to the concert. Might be there because they can receive packages or furniture for you and get it into your apartment. So it becomes a selling point, or if you like, a leasing point for when you go to look at different properties at, say, more of a higher end of the market. And that's kind of what we're seeing. And the reason for that is the cost of land, cost of construction, cost of money to build these units really push these price points to kind of the bit of the higher end of the market. And that's just a consequence of what the economic conditions are today. And to do that, you have to tie that together with the amenity package that people in such income brackets are looking for. So that's kind of the economics 101 of that. And of course, then, density of development works into that as well. Hence, higher number of stories, higher number of dwelling units to make the project work from that kind of buildable standpoint. So if we go through the plan, you'll notice that in it, there's sections that have been crossed through and then portions that have been underlined. And so on the first page, the first substantive page, I should say, we have a new table 2.1.1 that adds in the two additional redevelopment blocks here, BE5 and BE6. And it also ties it together, this time with the tax assessment lots, so it's easier to track. Then when we go through this additional sections, it has some additional requirements about motor vehicle enforcement, which has been coming because of the experiences we've had out on the peninsula with existing development. And then it also allows the ability here, because the city is moving ahead, as probably you all know, with the ferry for the peninsula, which will help provide another transportation mode here. And so it'll also allow where there's excess parking, and the board will be involved in such decision-making, where you could lease out parking garage space for ferry terminal use. And so that's been added into the plan too, under 2.3, parking and loading. In terms of required parking, there's just been some cleanup of that language in table 2.3.2. Then we had some old language in the plan about ADA and accessible or barrier-free parking. So that's been cleaned up in a new section 3 in 2.3.5. And then pretty much things have stayed the same with the parking facility access, except when you get down to floor elevations. A lot of things have happened in terms of flood elevation out on the peninsula due to Superstorm Sandy. A lot of things have changed with Federal Emergency Management Agency regulations about flooding and what that elevation should be. So that has been changed here too. And so then when we get to the land use regulations, we have amended the section on retail to indicate it's retail sales and services, because retail could encompass kind of a wide variety of things. Sales and services means those are for primarily the residents that are there and also people that might come in off the street. But it's not like retail sales of forklifts or excavating equipment. So it's got a different, not that I would expect anybody to having that kind of showroom, but the point is to clarify what that meant. And then down on 2.6.2, in the building regulations, this is where we're just going to control for the number of dwelling units, that additional square footage for retail sales and services, and then allowing a taller building. So that's what the plan is about and the changes that were made. So notwithstanding its relative brevity, it did take a while to put together in consultation with the anticipated redeveloper. Then there's also, with this particular plan, a need for a master plan consistency statement. And so when you look at that, and it's master plan consistency, so it's really more the master plan from 2000 than it is looking at the reexamination report of the master plan, which is a more recent document, because that in itself is not a master plan. So when we look at the master plan consistency, that was adopted shortly after the base closed, the military ocean terminal closed. At that time, we didn't quite know how that would work out, whether in fact the city would be successful in obtaining the base. And so here, though, it does say that it's going to be an area well served by transportation. It's going to have access to the, at that point, proposed Hudson Bergen Light Rail Station, which everybody knows now has come to fruition. But 25 years ago, it still hadn't been built. And so there's also recommended that these variety of mixed uses occur on the military ocean terminal, which has come to fruition today. And this project will also have a mix of retail sales and services and residential development. Consequently, this amendment is completely consistent with Bayonne's master plan. And so I think you can be comfortable making that finding with this particular plan amendment and recommending it as it was put together. I'm sorry, at the last minute, there was some last minute changes from what was originally sent to you 10 days ago over the weekend. So I'm hoping you did have a chance to look at it, that they weren't offensive having the changes at the last minute. But I think in the end, it ended up being a better document. So be happy to entertain any questions that the board might have or the audience.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Slaw. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Slaw? Okay, I don't think we have any. Sure, Ms. Mack?
Yeah, good evening. Very nice to see everybody on a Monday.
Good evening.
I just wanted to put a little context on it. Brian, of course, has done a great job as usual, but I just wanted to point out that we did do an amendment to this plan in 218 and 220, and at that time we did it because you have done site plan approval subsequent to that. So of the plan that you're seeing tonight that's being increased to 1,750, this planning board, as a consequence of the former amendments, has done site plan approval for 1,250. So tonight, we're updating it and increasing the number. We always anticipated that that number might be it. I've used it for some planning purposes for my highway access permit and things like that, so I'm comfortable with the increase. But I just wanted to say that we are working with the same developer who already has been here before. The really exciting part of it, and the timing is that now with the ferry, this is the closest development on the base. As you know, Brian's doing the legal beagle stuff on the blocks and lots, but as you all know, it's Harbor Station North, Harbor Station South, Bayonne Bay East, Bayonne Bay West. And this is the property that is closest to the ferry terminal and the operation of the ferry. So it's a very exciting area, and therefore I believe the market and the developer and the city has decided to recommend an increase in units because of the location. This is a very exciting location. And what Brian points out about the parking, the ability to be able to potentially use over spaces to park as we get into the ferry is very important. So again, the master plan was written in 2000. I was here then, and this project was, came in a little bit later, but very comfortable that even though the master plan is a little bit older, it still definitely meets the criteria and really the goals for the city of Bayonne. It's an exciting step. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay. I'll move to the audience. Are there any members of the audience that have a question for Mr. Slaw? Sure. Good evening.
Good evening, Sharon Nadrowski, 126 Avenue A. We may have a comment on to Ms. Mac's comment. So we went up 5 stories on the recommendation of the city council. That's what you said, so.
The city council was comfortable with going to another 5 stories at the request of the redeveloper, the purported redeveloper.
Okay, so, but with going up, now we're not having, well, it's optional now to have retail. That space on the bottom can be retail or not. It can't be residential, I understand that, but it can be 100% for non-public use, the public. You're no longer, it was a requirement in the original plan for it to be 10,000 square feet of residential, and now you added 5 stories and you can potentially, you have no requirement for anything commercial on there. That's what it says. It's optional. You can make it all enclosed. You can make it a gym, you can make it.
It was optional previously to have retail
Was it?
on the ground floor.
Well, the fact that you're going up all those stories, I think there should be a requirement that some of it should be.
I think some of it will be, just as a matter
Yeah,
of
but
necessity.
will be, doesn't always happen, right? I like for it to be decided by the people sitting up there, not what we decide later on. Like it should be part of the plan, because when things are saying, well, it's not going to be in the plan, but we're going to do it, never happens.
Let me put it this
Just
way.
like-
It's an allowed permitted use. So that would be the planning board trying to determine what the commercial market for the development should be. And the fact of the matter is, they're not real estate market experts. So why would we do that?
Because it's their job. I sat up on that planning board for 8 years, and they get to set, just like a lot of buildings here, our plans say, required, the Denoy one, required to have commercial space down the bottom, retail space, required.
Yes.
So yes, that is well within their preview to decide that.
It is.
And
Question
and
is-
what's best for the city and what's
Is that a
best for
good
the
policy?
residents.
The question is that a good policy or not?
That's not for me to decide, that's for them.
Exactly.
And then the other thing is, 0.5 spaces, 0.6 spaces. We can talk all we want all day long about public transportation. There is none down there. That ferry's been coming for, I think, 15 years since the first announcement. Then under the Davis, it got announced 4 different times. There's no signed contract. There's nothing. There's nothing. Till the day it happens, that's when we'll believe it. And that's another, how many years out before they build up where they're going to, the dock or whatever you want to call it for the terminal for the ferry. Believe me, I took a ferry for a long time from Brady's Dock. It was the best transportation ever, and then from Port Liberté. I'm all for the ferry, very disappointed that it never happened, but I don't see it happening. And aside from the ferry that may come, may not come, depending on the market, I don't think that there's no transportation, and I'm really happy, Ms. Mack, that you're very satisfied with the highway access plan for down there, but I don't think one resident in Bayonne is right now. I know we're making all these improvements. I've been to numerous council meetings. We're getting lights, we're making improvements, we're doing it. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare down there. You know how many accidents? I think we've Oprah'd them, how many accidents happen on that road. I just don't see, and now we're adding more, and we have less parking spaces. There just is, for someone, and even if you could get to the city by ferry for your job, you can't go anywhere else in this town without getting in a car. There's no bus, there's no train, there's nothing down there. And there is a little light rail across the road, but you'd have to play chicken to get there because there's no pedestrian walkway to get you there. There's no bridge, walkover bridge that was about 10 years coming too. So they're just concerns I have that we're going to increase it by another 300 units. What, out of that 300 units, how many I know there can't be anything more than 2 bedrooms because that's what the plan said. how many more of them are going to be, of these 300 are going to be two-bedroom units for our kids to go to the school system that can't handle them as it is. We have a lot of, so that's just, my concerns, and it's really for the planning board to consider. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other members of the public that wish to come forward? Okay. I know we had questions and we had comments, so I will just open it up to see if there are any other members of the public that had some comments regarding this. Okay. At this point, commissioners, are there any commissioners that wish to make a statement? Okay. At this time, we will move to a vote. Okay. Do I have
I need a motion and a second.
Sure, I'll move.
I'll second.
And on the vote?
Chairperson Fiamonte,
Aye.
Vice Chair Velardo,
Aye.
Commissioner Veloz,
Aye.
Commissioner Locke, Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Scheibel, Commissioner Lubach.
Aye.
The application, the redevelopment amendment has been approved and will be recommended to the City Council.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda?
Next on the agenda is a P25-019, presentation of a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment study for property located in City Block 452.02, lots 5.01, 6, 7, and 9, and 11, to develop a map reflecting the boundaries of the proposed non-condemnation redevelopment area and to determine whether said property constitutes a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. This matter is being requested to be carried to December 9th, 2025, without any further notice on the part of the city in this matter.
Okay, thank you.
Can I get a motion and a second to carry?
I'll move.
Second. I'll second.
And on the vote, Chairperson Fiamonte,
Aye.
Vice Chair Velardo,
Aye.
Commissioner Veloz,
Aye.
Commissioner Locke, Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Scheibel, Commissioner Lubach.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is item number 8, P-25-007, presentation of a redevelopment plan for property located at 958-968 Broadway in City Block 78, Lot 44, as shown on the official tax map of the City of Bayonne, the former T&J Car Wash.
Actually, item number 10, not item number 8. Depends if you're working off of the corrected or not corrected agenda, so.
I'm looking on the agenda you gave me at the start of the meeting.
Corrected on top?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Not corrected agenda would be item 10.
So corrected, it's 8.
And that's what I said.
Okay.
Am I good to go?
Yeah, now that we've clarified that, it's either 8 or 10, but yes, you're good to go.
Great.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Allen. I'm from Beacon Planning and Consulting Services. And this evening, I'll be presenting the redevelopment plan for the former car wash property, also known as 958-968 Broadway. Sorry, just waiting for the PowerPoint. All right, if we could go to the next slide. This PowerPoint slide depicts an aerial of the subject property. You'll note it is a corner lot with frontage along both Broadway and East 46th Street. It was previously found to be an area in need of redevelopment. As was noted at that time, it has 2 automotive repair shops, one of which was closed at the time of review, a canopy formerly associated with a refueling operation, as well as a 1-story car wash. The proposed redevelopment of this property creates an opportunity to provide mixed-use development. The local master plan and the reexamination report from 2017 both seek to permit a mixed-use development at an appropriate density and proximity to, both along the Broadway corridor, but as well as along, proximate to the light rail, which this property is. So it is located proximate to multiple forms of transportation, including bus and light rail. It is located along the Broadway corridor, where the community is seeking reinvestment and to revitalize this commercial area. It's more of like a Main Street area of the community, which I am sure you are well aware. The redevelopment plan creates an opportunity for the reinvestment and redevelopment of this property, as well as provides parameters for its development along the corridor. If we could go to the next slide. As will be discussed, the redevelopment plan goes over permitted uses, bulk standards, building design, and streetscape. The next slide. This is just showing the existing condition of the property. On the next slide. So the permitted uses, this was a little bit more unique in that it is mixed use. We're considering ground floor retail, structured parking, residential above, but actually a potential developer for the site came to the community and said, what would you think about a rooftop restaurant? So it wouldn't occupy the full rooftop, but it would present a dining opportunity that maybe it starts on the restaurant portion of it on the ground floor, and then outdoor seating is provided up on the roof. So there's a potential to kind of expand that opportunity within the community. So therefore, permitted uses did echo permitted uses along the Broadway corridor, wherein commercials on the first floor with parking and residential units are on the upper level floors. But there is a caveat in there, or an addition, to permit this restaurant, a portion of this restaurant, on the roof. No other retail or commercial use would be permitted on the roof. There wouldn't be some closed store or an office or anything of that nature. If we could go on to the next slide. These are the bulk standards that have been proposed. Many of them mimic similar improvements within the Broadway corridor with respect to setbacks, impervious coverage. Building height, I'm going to go through building height in the next slide, but the anticipated maximum number of residential units is 130. If we could go on to the next slide. So building height was defined differently in this plan because the potential developer is seeking to permit an electronic parking system. So it wouldn't be residents pulling in and parking themselves. Residents would pull up, the vehicle would go into an elevator, go up to another floor, and kind of stack around. I realize that's the cars themselves would be on pallets, so the pallets would shift around. And so before residents would leave, they would call upon their car, and their car would come down in this elevator. It has been noted within the redevelopment plan that should this type of system be utilized at the time of, not at the time of application, but at the time of building permits, the applicant would have to show how the system would work in case of a power outage or in case there was something off or something not working properly. There was a request, though we do also include standards for a standard parking garage. Therefore, the height that we're proposing in this instance, it is the maximum height to that top floor, and then the restaurant space is considered outside of that height. That's because it's going to be a smaller area that is permitted, and it is required to be set back at least 10 feet from any property frontage. So any part of the building that fronts along the adjoining road, that upper space would have to be set back so that it does not create that visual continuity of another floor. And the height was requested to consider if this E-system is utilized, the ceiling heights in those, this will click into the next slide as well, which is number of stories. If the E-system is utilized, then those floors don't actually become habitable. Ceiling heights are lower. Nobody's going in to mess with the cars on these pallets unless there's a maintenance issue. So they were not considered full stories, contributing to the overall limit of stories of the building. Are there any questions regarding those two items? Because I feel like those would be the most confusing within the report.
Well, we can go through the entire testimony, and then we'll ask questions at the end.
Okay?
All right?
I just wanted
Thank
to,
you, though.
because I know that part can get a little bit tricky. And so, yes, the floor area ratio also considers what is actually habitable and excludes these floors that are lower in height that provide an e-parking scenario. And I do want to bring in, I spoke with the board engineer, and he mentioned that in other recent redevelopment plans, that EV spaces have been required to be provided towards the entrance of the garage. And so that is something that obviously we'll have to discuss when it comes to if this type of system is proposed and how the EV will be handled. But if a more traditional is utilized, obviously we would seek to have them closer, and it's something that can be addressed in any redevelopment agreement. Was there another item?
I was just about the sprinkler heads also would have to be.
Yes, and so in following that, I understand there's enhanced fire suppression systems that the community has required, and that could also be addressed in a redevelopment agreement.
Karen, that was a recommendation from the fire department, so we've now included it in the plans.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll make a note going forward.
Okay, thank you.
The next slide, again, considers, so this is the unit configurations, studio 1 and 2 bedroom. No more than 50% can be 2-bedroom layouts. And each unit shall be provided in laundry. With the next, so bicycle storage, pretty standard, is 0.5 spaces per unit. Parking, we're actually requiring 1 space per studio or 1-bedroom unit, and 1.5 spaces per 2-bedroom unit. I do note that there are a few select redevelopment plans within the community that actually only require 1.25 spaces per 2-bedroom unit. So this is a little larger. It is a larger building with up to 50% 2-bedrooms, so we want to make sure it would be adequately parked. And again, this is proximate to existing public transportation. And I'm sorry, off-street parking is required for the residential units. It is not required in connection with the retail, which is standard within the community's redevelopment plans. Setbacks, building standards, I'm sorry. So again, we're looking for those higher quality materials, materials such as aluminum siding, vinyl, EIFS, the less than 2-inch brick veneer will be prohibited in this plan as well. And the commercial storefront, standards within the redevelopment plan echo those within the standard plan, but actually allow for more control of the technical review committee regarding the design of the storefront. So many of the suggestions or many of the recommendations are included in the plan, but it's more of a should statement than shall, but they must be reviewed by the technical review committee. The next. The streetscape standards are the same as within other redevelopment plans with the 14-foot wide sidewalk, providing for the tree zone, the clear zone, and the frontage zone. The standards have been updated just to read that, for example, if street trees are required every 35 feet, let's say, and there's utilities there, so they can't put it every 35 feet. The requirement now is, okay, request that you still have to provide the trees, you just have to modify the spacing. So you can honor the utilities, curb cuts, and those nature, but you still have to provide the street trees. And the stormwater system requirement is the standard within the community's redevelopment plans. Next slide. With respect to the master plan, I previously discussed, and there is a statement for consistency. The 2017 re-examination report says there has been a decline in retail activity along the Broadway corridor since the 2000 master plan. And it cites the length of it and seeks to have redevelopment in this area to revitalize it. And therefore, I believe the plan is consistent with the master plan and the reexamination report. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Thank you. Any questions, commissioners? Sure.
What are the total stories of this building?
So the total stories is a little bit tricky because the mezzanines that would count the parking would not count as a full story or a story itself. So they would be encompassed within the first story of the building. So the first story will be taller and larger, but it'll have mezzanines of parking, which would not consist, visually would not be seen as another story. And since they don't have the same height, they're just meant for the parking.
How many stories of living space?
How many stories of living space?
It would be similar to the 115, the one at,
The one across the street?
no, it's in,
How much taller would it
It's
be
on
from the
Avenue
building
F.
that's across the street right now?
the one on Avenue F. That was approved.
There's a building, where this site is, there's a building across the street that's new. How many stories more would it be, or would it be of equal height?
So this, excluding the potential rooftop structure that may be either part of a restaurant or additional amenity space for the residents, a total of 12 stories are permitted and a height of 130 feet.
So you won't exceed the 130 feet?
Excluding that rooftop structure, that might include, no. And that rooftop structure, I will say, it is permitted a height of up to 25 feet. However, the restaurant or amenity space is limited to a ceiling height of 12 feet. The only reason it would go up to may go up to maybe 25 feet is if they have to put an elevator bulkhead on top of that structure. And we've prohibited any mezzanines within that rooftop structure. So it is strictly meant to either be amenity space or an additional restaurant space.
So then you're saying basically 13 stories with the inclusion of the possible restaurant and 14 with the an additional 13 with the possible bulkhead of an elevator shaft.
Correct.
Okay.
So it would continually shrink down.
Okay. I think that helps.
Yes, because that would
Clarify.
mean it would be equal to the one that's across the street. It
Okay.
would be like towering over it.
Yeah,
It would be
no, I
equal
agree.
To it, okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other commissioners?
Another question
Sure.
is, the backup system, there would be a backup system provided for this parking system?
Yes.
Well, in case there's a power outage,
Yes, there is a requirement in the plan for them to discuss, if they go forward with this system, how it will be maintained, i.e. during a power outage, or if something malfunctions, will there be contact information, like on a plaque right there? And so they have to address that before they get building permits.
Okay, thank you. Any other commissioners?
Yes, I do have another
Sure.
question. You mentioned that it will be two-bedroom units, no more than 50%, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Perhaps, I've always been concerned with the parking spaces. You mentioned 1.5, and my question is, what can you fit two automobiles in that 1.5?
So,
Because if it's two two-bedroom, most likely the components of the family will be a wife, husband, probably a son or daughter.
so what I would
Most likely they're going to have automobile too.
So actually, 1.5 is above what would be considered appropriate for transit-oriented development. I note that in a regular two-bedroom unit, approximately 1.8 spaces are required. So even if you were to follow RESIS, a full 2 spaces are not required for a two-bedroom unit. It may be less. I'd have to look up the specific RESIS standards.
So for every 20 units, you'd get 10 extra.
Because
Ten
it's,
extra.
yeah, it's based on the
Spaces.
principle that not every two-bedroom, yes, there'll be two-bedroom units, but not every two-bedroom unit will have 2 vehicles.
I see. Well, it's getting worse and worse parking here in Bayonne. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Just a question regarding rooftop restaurants. Do we have equipment in our fire department that can handle that kind of height? It's just a regular question I'm curious about, because I know we build the other buildings.
We would deal with that at site plan time.
And they would have to demonstrate how that would be accommodated.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, commissioners? All right, Ms. Mack, anything?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Any questions down the end? Sure.
Just something that has been included in other plans would be a construction staging statement
Okay.
that would basically just outline during construction if there would be any permanent sidewalk or shoulder closures that would impact the pedestrians throughout the construction process. So
Okay, we'll make a note of that for future redevelopment plans, and again, that could be incorporated into the redevelopment agreement.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move to questions from any members of the audience. Is there anyone who has a question for Ms. Sellers? Okay, seeing none. Are there any members of the audience that have a statement regarding this presentation? Okay, it seems like you moved for nothing. Is there anything you wish to add before I check with commissioners?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, anyone wish to make a comment before we move to a vote? Okay, seeing none, I will make a motion to approve.
Second?
And on the vote?
Chairperson Fiamonte.
Aye.
Vice Chair Velardo.
Aye.
Commissioner Veloz.
Aye.
Commissioner Locke. Commissioner Rhodes.
Aye.
Commissioner Scheibel.
Aye.
Commissioner Lubach.
Aye.
This redevelopment plan has been approved.
Okay, thank you. I think,
We're going to go back to the old agenda because Alicia reminded me of something that needs to be taken care of.
sure.
There was an application that was on the old agenda that got noticed. We're going to carry this matter, but I want to put it on the record and not require any further action on the part of noticing anyone. This is P-25-018. This is the presentation of a non-condemnation area need of redevelopment study for property located at, this is where we have to fix it, Block 54, lots 1, 22.01, 22.02, 21, 23, 24, 25, and 26. And this is to develop a map reflecting the boundaries of the proposed non-condemnation redevelopment area and to determine whether the property constitutes a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. Can I get a motion and a second to carry that to December 9th, 2025?
I'll move.
I'll second.
And on the vote, Chairperson Fiamonte.
Aye.
Vice Chair Velardo.
Aye.
Commissioner Veloz.
Aye.
Commissioner Locke. Commissioner Rhodes.
Aye.
Commissioner Scheibel. Commissioner Lubach.
Aye.
Now we'll go back to the corrected agenda, but that is also a matter that we're seeking to carry, and that is item number 9, that's P-25-028, presentation of an amendment to a redevelopment plan for property located at 69 New Hook Road in City Block 416, Lot 2.01, as shown on the official tax map of the City of Bayonne, the former Delta Storage site. And that would be to carry that matter to December 9th, 2025. Can I get a motion and a second?
I'll move.
I'll second.
And on the vote, Chairperson Fiamonte.
Aye.
Vice Chair Velardo.
Aye.
Commissioner Veloz.
Aye.
Commissioner Locke. Commissioner Rhodes.
Aye.
Commissioner Scheibel.
Aye.
Commissioner Lubach.
Aye.
Next on the agenda are the adoption of resolutions, P-25-029, the redevelopment plan for BBE in City Block 830, lots 2.01, 2.02, 3.01, 3.02, 4.01, and 4.02. Can I get a motion and a second to approve that resolution recommending the redevelopment plan to the City Council?
I'll move.
I'll
Second.
second.
And on the vote, Chairperson Fiamonte.
Aye.
Vice Chair Velardo.
Aye.
Commissioner Veloz.
Aye.
Commissioner Locke. Commissioner Rhodes.
Aye.
Commissioner Scheibel. Commissioner Lubach.
Aye.
Last resolution, P-25-007, the redevelopment plan for 958-968 Broadway in Block 78, Lot 44, recommending it to the city council. Can I get a motion and a second on that?
I'll move.
A second.
And on the vote, Chairperson Fiamonte?
Aye.
Vice Chair Velardo?
Aye.
Commissioner Veloz?
Aye.
Commissioner Locke? Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Scheibel?
Aye.
Commissioner Lubach?
Aye.
Nothing further.
Okay.
A
At this-
motion and a second to adjourn.
I'll move.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everyone. Just a reminder, get out and vote tomorrow, and I'd like to wish everyone a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. See everyone in December.